Hello again, everyone. Today I am here with the results of a Ken Bromley art supply haul. These are items that I purchased in the Black Friday sale. I am working with natural light today, so hopefully this will be enough light. I've been having some issues with the light on my new camera rig, reflecting really badly off of water media, so I'm going to try just doing this with natural light today because it's the morning and I have more light in this room today. So these are the water media that I purchased from Ken Bromley, and I'll go into the items because some of this is extra, so I won't be swatching that. But I'm going to be swatching all of the water media today. And I wanted to let you know that I also got a great deal on these Sennelier oil pastel sets, which I'm going to be swatching in a separate video just because, you know, the media is so different that I don't want to do them all in the same video. So I got the portrait set and the landscape set of Sennelier oil pastels, and these were 25 pounds each, and normally they are because Ken Bromley is a UK art store. Normally they are way more expensive than that. So I was really excited to do that because these had been on my wish list for quite a while. And what I'm going to be doing in that other swatching is I'm also going to be swatching those oil pastels on this mixed media paper that I also got in the sale from Dale Rowney. So I'll go more into that in the other video, which I'll do at some point in the future. But for these, this is all the water media that I purchased in this Black Friday sale, and it was a bargain, guys. Seriously, a bargain. So I'm going to be swatching these today on my usual Pentalic watercolor notebook, and I think this is the last page in here, so there will be a flip through soon once this is totally complete. So let me go into what I'm going to be swatching before I get there. So all of these Rembrandt pans I purchased. So these were 50p basically per half pan, which is nuts for an artist quality watercolor. And I really do like Rembrandt watercolors. So this, I got all of the ones they had available, even though a lot of them were various yellows. But I do use a lot of yellow, so I don't think this will not go into use. But basically all of these here on this top row, except for this white, that was one that I added to this set. So all of these different yellows and oranges, all of these here on this second row, so all of these reds, some earth colors, a purple, and then this Rembrandt cobalt green down here. So all of these were, you know, less than $1 US for each of these. And then the other media that I got watercolor is the Ken Bromley brand watercolor, just because I wanted to try them out. I'd never tried them before. Store brand watercolor is usually made by another company. I don't know who these are made by, but I just wanted to try a few blues. So it's these three here, and I'll go through what color they are. Here you can see the swatches, but I will swatch them further. These three were not part of this haul. These are the Deep Light brand of handmade watercolors. I will put a link below to the video where I swatch these. These are amazing. I just thought I would put it together with these because these would be the only granulating. Well, let's see. I don't know. I think the cobalt green might be a little bit granulating, but for the most part, these would be the only granulating things in this set. So I decided to add them there, that and the white, which I just kind of had sitting around, and that way I could fill out this palette. And this palette is a Holbein palette. I have since moved the Holbein colors into a different palette, but I just thought I would move them into here since I had it empty. So, and then I do also have a couple of Winsor Newton gouaches. This is Perylene Violet, Perylene Black. I don't use gouache very often, but I would like to get into it more. I have a small set of primaries basically from Winsor & Newton, I think. But again, you know, these were super cheap, so I thought, you know, Winsor & Newton gouache is a good quality gouache, so it'd be good to have around. And what I think I will do actually is I probably will do the gouache first. So I didn't put the gouache into a pan. So these Ken Bromley tubes, these were tubes. This watercolor came in tubes, and I emptied it and is now dry in these half pans because it's been a little while since I got the actual order. I'll comment on the colors once I get to them, but I did empty the tubes into pans. For the gouache, sometimes you can get cracking in gouache if you empty it into the tubes. I mean, you can obviously get cracking on some watercolor as well, but it can get kind of flaky. So I basically just left it in the tubes so that I could use it wet. That's usually how people use gouache, but you can dry it. It just has varying success. So basically I'm just going to put a little bit of the black and the purple here, and I'll put these closer up to the camera as well once these are done, just so that we can get some samples. I do have a pot of water off to the side here, which I haven't opened yet and I need to do. Okay, and I have a paper towel and a watercolor brush. The watercolor brush is a Rhapsody Sable brush that I purchased from Jerry's Artorama. I will put a link to that as well. So let's see. Oh, that's interesting. It looks like this Perylene black has a little bit of a green tint to it, which is kind of cool. In fact, it looks more green to me than black. That's awesome. Because I love Perylene green. I was actually very interested to see that it was a Perylene black. I was like, what's Perylene black? So this may just be an old name for the Perylene green. Now the thing about gouache is I'm watering this out a little bit more than you need to necessarily with gouache, because gouache typically is used in an opaque way. You can water it down too and use it interchangeably with watercolor. I mean, both ways are fine. So I'll have to see, because different brands of gouache have different levels of opacity. See, if you, I mean, look here, I'm watering this down and it looks pretty much like watercolor on this color here. But these are both beautiful. I really love them. So they tend to be very matte when they dry, and they do tend to be more opaque than watercolor, but it really depends on the formulation. Some gouache, or most gouache I think, has white in it. I don't know if these have white. They may, because there is a little bit of a chalky texture here, but that could also be binder. But you can see they look, oop, I just marked that with the end of my brush. But they do dry really, really matte. But both of these are gorgeous. I'm really glad I got those to have as part of my collection. So now I'm going to go on to the Rembrandt pans. And again, you know, I really, really love the Rembrandt brand. They don't seem to have very many granulating colors. They have a few, but for the most part, it's just really bright, vibrant color. So this one here is Azo Yellow Light. And let's actually get some slightly bigger samples here so that you can see that. That's Azo Yellow Light. Next one is Azo Yellow Medium. And I also kind of wanted all of these yellows so that I could see the different yellows, because I tend to stick with just a few yellows. Like lemon yellow is kind of a big one that I use. Quinacridone Gold I use quite often, but I don't tend to branch out too much to different golds or yellows. So this is kind of interesting. So this one is Rembrandt Cadmium Yellow. So cadmiums tend to be more opaque, which you can tell is definitely true here. I'm gonna add a little bit more water here too. But you can always counter that with more water, for example. But generally cadmiums across colors are going to be a little bit more opaque. This next one is Azo Yellow Deep. So basically I had the full range of Azo Yellow. And as the names imply, you know, you have azo yellow light, medium, and deep. So you're going to get different colors here. I don't have the pigment numbers handy. I don't think that the little pans had the pigment numbers on them. Otherwise, I would have put it on the swatch sheet here. So, but you can easily find out what pigments, if that interests you, are in the Rembrandt colors. So this is another cadmium. This is a cadmium deep. So they didn't have the cadmium medium, but you can see there's quite a big difference between the light and the deep. And I haven't tried mixing much with these yet. I really just kind of put them in here and let the Ken Bromley watercolors dry. Okay, so this one is Rembrandt Permanent Orange. Which is really, really pretty. And then we're gonna go on to Permanent Red Light. Let's go over here. I want to make sure I have enough room for all of these colors. This next one is Cadmium Red Light. So again, you're going to get more opacity, although I've added quite a bit of water. So the more water you add, the less opaque your color is going to be. And then I have Cadmium Red Medium. And again, my choice of colors is just what they had on sale. I got all of the available half pan colors that they had in Rembrandt because I love Rembrandt colors, and I just thought it was an amazing deal to get these for you know, less than $1 US. Okay, so that's light oxide red. That actually might be a little bit granulating and a fairly opaque color, but it's really nice. And then we have raw umber. Raw umber is usually pretty transparent. Depending on the brand too, it can go from fairly weak, which this seems fairly weak as far as intensity, but it can be darker than that as well. And these, I did not wet any of these before doing these swatches. So you're getting pretty much just the color right out here. This is transparent oxide brown, which I think is a really beautiful brown. I mean, one of the nice things about getting things on sale like this, where, you know, you're paying practically nothing for each one, is you get to try out colors that you wouldn't necessarily try. Because like this brown oxide, I think is a lovely, lovely brown, and I wouldn't have otherwise thought to get it. And this is Permanent Blue Violet. Permanent Blue Violet, I'm kind of surprised that this is called a blue violet. Looks pretty violet to me. Oh, let me move that up so you can see the full swatch. Okay, so that is it, other than this one down here, which is Cobalt Green. And this one does have a little bit of an issue re-wetting because sometimes cobalts can have that problem. Not necessarily a problem, but they're harder to re-wet and they can be a little bit lighter. So this is Rembrandt Cobalt Green. But this one should be granulating as well. Okay. And so that I have enough room for the 3 Ken Bromley watercolors, I'm going to put those swatches down like this. Okay, so the Ken Bromley watercolors, overall, the colors are beautiful. I'm not that impressed with the textures of these, especially the Payne's Gray. The Payne's Gray had a lot of binder in it. I probably should have tried to mix these in the tube. they were actually sealed. I don't find that often with watercolors. You opened it up and then you actually had to pierce a seal in the tube in order to get them to come out. And I probably, given that it was completely sealed, I probably should have taken that opportunity to mix these tubes a little bit. You can see there's a little bit of binder here in this lighter blue. This is called Sèvres blue. This is teal blue, and this is Payne's gray blue shade. They're all pretty. I think the teal blue is probably my favorite, although it's very dark for a teal blue. The Sèvres blue has some white in it, and the Payne's gray is a mix, but again, I cannot remember what pigments they are. I'll put a link to the website so you can take a look at them. As far as pigment load though, I mean, they're supposed to be artist grade watercolors, so they do seem to have a pretty good pigment load. This one's going to be pretty opaque because it does have white in it. It's actually quite a nice color, I think. And it's not really like anything else I have in my watercolors, mostly because it is so opaque. And I don't actually have a lot of watercolors that are mixed with white. Okay, and then this next one is teal blue. And I think all of these have a phthalo blue as their base. You can see this teal blue is really, really a rich, deep blue. Let's see if I can get a little bit of water mixed in. And then the last one is this Payne's gray, which on my swatch sheet here did dry fairly glossy, and I think that is because there was just so much binder there. It seems to be re-wetting a little bit now that it's dried in the pan, but I think we're still going to get some of that glossiness. And with a Payne's gray, I normally associate Payne's gray as being a little bit darker than that. And again, I don't know if that's just because of how much binder came out with that, but there we go. Okay, I will put this up to the camera so that you can see these. So these are these gouache from Winsor Newton. This Perylene black, which I think is really essentially a Perylene green. Really beautiful. I think that's going to be really, really useful. This is the Perylene violet. Again, beautiful. You're getting a completely matte color here. And then we have Azo Yellow Light, Azo Yellow Medium. This is Azo Yellow Deep. This is Cadmium Yellow Medium, Cadmium Yellow Deep, and Rembrandt Permanent Orange. All really beautiful yellows. And then we have some reds. I have Permanent Red Light. I have Cadmium Red Light, Cadmium Red Medium, Light Oxide Red. It looks a lot like an Indian red. Raw Umber, Transparent Oxide Brown, which becomes a little bit more dull when it's dry, but I do think this would be a good mixing brown. I know that seems odd to say a mixing brown, but it has really nice undertones, so I think it would kind of mute down some other brighter colors. And this is Permanent Blue Violet, and this last Rembrandt color is Cobalt Green. And then these are the Ken Bromley watercolors. This is the Sèvres blue, which really is a beautiful blue. I mean, the quality of the colors, other than this Payne's gray, are really quite good, at least for these two. Sèvres blue, teal blue, which is a very dark teal blue, but it's beautiful. I really like it. And then Payne's gray. So these were colors. The reason why I got these was first off just to try out the brand and to see what the quality of the watercolor is. And these colors were colors that were kind of different from a lot of other brands that I already have. All right. Well, hopefully you enjoyed that swatching, and hopefully this was a little better with natural light today. I can't always do that just because of the day and because it's fall/winter now. But I'll try to do that as much as I can. All right, well, that's all I had for you today. Feel free to subscribe to keep track of future videos on my channel. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. I hope to see you next time, but in the meantime, have a great day. Thanks so much. Bye.